Good afternoon. You're listening to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today, we are talking about marital pet peeves and how to overcome them. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right back into my list of annoying pet peeves. So the next one is chewing like a farm animal and other bad table manners. Wait, it gets better. There's an extra annoying tab that says no effort made when dining with your boss or parents.
Yeah, I think that's an unconscious thing. I mean, if there's no effort to do it, period, when you're with people that you feel you can relax with and chomp away, there's probably not going to be any extra effort to do it when somebody is of a higher caliber, I guess, from your perspective.
Yeah, I get. Well, the extra annoying tab that they're talking about, I think, is I don't want to be embarrassed by things that you do. And that's what I'm saying. It comes out of my mouth. That sounds so bad. But ultimately, yeah, I think the first annoying thing is, wow, you instantly jump to, oh, wow, you don't think of me enough to be respectful, like while we're eating. But it also could be seen as oh, wow, you love me so much that you're so comfortable with just being
Would
yourself.
You tell your boyfriend if he was chomping away like a farm animal? Would you say something to him?
Not if we were alone, but if I knew that we were going to go to a very fancy meeting with, I don't know, the president, I would say, hey, I've noticed in the past that you do this.
Well, okay, all right, but why was someone why was someone specific rather than just bringing it up as a topic? Like, hey, have you ever?
It just doesn't seem like something that I want to bring up. It's not that important to me. But
all of a sudden, it becomes important when somebody that's important to you could potentially be offended by it. Maybe.
Well, let's say on this list of 50 things, 20 things I would mention. It's kind of just like not that important. Like it almost barely. I just put it on there because people probably.
All right, so there's some more important ones in there.
Yes.
Let's get to
so
some
I'm going to get to the next one that I think. This one I am probably infamous for starting fights about. This one is called chronic lateness. An extra annoying tab says missing flights, shows, or events because of it. I think I've had so much experience with friends being late and people, saying they're going to be somewhere when they're not. And to me, it's embarrassing. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. That's just how I am. So I've expressed to friends and my boyfriend and my parents and my whoever that I'm going to things with that, hey, we have to leave on time to get there on time. This is something that I struggle with in my personal relationship, that him and his family have no watches, apparently, because they just always seem to be late, and it has nothing to do with them keeping track of time. I personally think it has to do with him not respecting either my time or someone else's time enough to be there when you say you're going to be there.
It's funny because in the last couple of conversations that we've had, you keep bringing up this thing about you don't respect me enough to, and then whatever the blank is that you fill in. Sometimes people aren't even at that level to even be doing it to try to be disrespectful or it's not that they don't respect you. They're just haven't learned certain behaviors. They haven't mastered certain levels of leadership. They have, so when you have somebody like, to me, being 15 minutes early to everything is a leadership skill. It's a leadership ability that you have to be taught, you have to develop, you have to practice. It has to be important to you. Those things that takes conscious, committed effort to be able to master that part of your life. And I'm going to say from my experience, maybe 15 or 20% of, maybe even 15% of the world that I deal with operate like that. The rest of the 80% of the world, to them, it doesn't matter. They don't have to be on time to things. So the people that you're in relationships with that aren't on time to majority of things that you partner up with them in, it's because they don't have to, or they don't pay a price for it. I guarantee you, if there's a price they have to pay, all of a sudden they start to learn a little faster. So here's an example. When you guys were little, and I used to take you guys to school, some of you didn't get up early. You were up like that, ready to go. But like your brothers and sisters, both of them would lag. And I remember saying, this car's leaving at 6 a.m. sharp if you're not in the car. And I'm in the car at 5:50, warming it up with a 10-minute grace period. If you're not running in, we're leaving. I had to be willing to leave a few times, and you guys had to miss school, and I had you write a note to your teacher, and it was all dramatic so that you had the experience of, oh my God, if I don't get there on time. So I had to teach you a different way, because me telling you, the words weren't good enough. You had to actually pay a price when you were 6 years old, walking into your first or second grade, being late and being embarrassed, and handing the teacher your note and all that kind of stuff. So if no one pays a price for being late, then they don't have to be on time. And I'm just opening up that perspective for you to look at is, well, what's the price people have to pay for being on time? Of course, they're not going to learn.
Yeah, I think I guess the reason why it bugs me so much is that for me, I guess maybe I made up my own price that I pay for being late, and that is people, assuming that their event or the thing that they invited me to wasn't important enough for me to show up on time. I make up all of these things that if I don't show up on time, people are going to, and if I say I'm going to be there at that time, people are going to start to know that I'm not my word. People are going to start to know that I can't be trusted. I jump to all these other things that...
And that's awesome, because those two qualities are amazing qualities to have. People trusting you, and what was the other one? People trusting you?
Oh, and being your word.
And being your word. Those are two distinctive leadership distinctions that you had to learn and decide that they're important to you. The rest of the world doesn't operate like that. A very small percentage. And I think it behooves you to not live in the illusion that other people, that it matters to them, because it doesn't. Based on results, people are late all the time, and it just doesn't matter to them. You're operating on a whole different level of standards that most people don't have.
Yeah,
and then it's bugging you.
Yeah, and I also think, if we're going to events, that's for me and my family and my friends, I'll be on time. But because it doesn't seem to be that important to him, if we're going to things that are for his family or his friends, then I have no problem being late, because it's not, I don't want to say those events aren't as important, but me being on time doesn't reflect how those people think of me, because I'm not the one that's in charge, if that makes sense.
Okay, but you also gave your word. If he said, "Hey, will you go with me?" and you gave your word, then so there's the trust and the word part. So if you gave your word, you should be on time.
No, I mean, like, if I'm going with him and he's the one running late, I'm not pushing him like, "Hey, we got to go out the door," and I let him do his own thing. But if we're going to one of my events, I'm pushing him. You better be ready.
Because you showing up and walking into the ceremony late and everyone looking at you is basically a poor reflection of him, is what you're saying. It's not on you.
He should pay, not me. No. The next thing says, violating movie behavior codes by talking while you're trying to watch. I only put this one on here because I do that, and people hate it.
Say it again. It's a what?
Violating movie behavior codes by talking while you're trying to watch.
Got it.
So I put this one on here because I do that. People hate it. I get shushed in movies every single time I go. And I don't know when I'm going to learn. Probably when someone physically tries to fight me. But
are you talking about a movie theater?
Either movie theaters or like while you're watching movies, I will talk, and then
Why do you do that?
I love talking about what's going on.
Oh, okay.
And I like to I don't want to wait until the end. I'm going to forget. So I always talk, and I always get shushed, and sometimes my boyfriend gets all, he's like, "Shh, be quiet." And
so
I'm
is that
like,
his pet peeve?
I don't know, maybe. No, I mean, but I know that I do it, and when I go with my friends, they're like, "Jazmine, you better not talk or you're not coming to the next movie."
See?
And I always do it anyways.
Okay, so from their perspective, it's their pet peeve towards you, and it's annoying to them. They haven't figured out how to pull you aside and express it in a way that you go, "You know what, I got it." And then you flip the switch, and then all of a sudden now you have a different behavior pattern while you're in the movie theater.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do, because I'm not going to stop. No, I'm just kidding. The next one says chronic indecision. I feel like this is probably something guys hate, but it says by refusing to suggest specific foods, restaurant, movies, and activities. Extra annoying tab says blaming you when they don't enjoy the meal, show, or activity. I'm laughing because of Andrew, but I think guys, they I can see them asking a girl, where do you want to go for dinner? And she's, oh, I don't know. And then he picks a place and they're like, oh, really, there?
Yeah, I get it all the time for 30 years, 25, 30 years.
Yeah. So I don't know, because I think I do it too. I probably just say, oh, I don't really care. And then, but I genuinely don't care. So I'll go and I'll.
You know how,
anyways.
and you know, I justify it being on the other end is if you're going to be indecisive, I'm just going to choose. It's just kind of it's part of my leadership development is if you're going to be indecisive, I'll choose for us both. And then I will pay a price because of the choice I made. When I make the right choice, everyone's like, "Oh, this is cool." You know, look what we did. Right? No,
that's
right?
exactly
Yeah, look what we created. And then when it doesn't go right, it's always look with a choice. Look at where you let us down. And it's part of leadership. That's when you're a leader, you're gonna, get dissed for the decisions you make that don't go right. When you make the decisions because no one else is making them that go right, everyone's gonna take ownership of it and be patting themselves on the back. It's just part of, you gotta humble yourself and go, it's just the way, human behaviors are.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on to the next one before we have to end. But then I'm laughing at this one because this is me. The next one says blatant tasks neglected by forgetting basic duties they agreed or volunteered to do. Extra annoying, getting mad at you for inquiring or reminding them. I think I do both. I'm on both sides. I know that if somebody forgets to do something that they said they're going to do, I'll start a whole fight. Why would you volunteer to do it? Why would you say you're going to do it if you're not going to do it? I've got a million lines. But also when I forget to do them and someone reminds me, I also will flip out for, oh, what, you think I'm not responsible enough that I don't know that I forgot, even if I did.
So you play both sides of it.
Yeah. So this one, I'm guilty of both sides, definitely.
Yeah. So what's the annoying part? The annoying part is when somebody says they're going to do something and they don't,
Yeah, it's just keeping your word. Again, if you say we're going to do something or you're going to do something and you don't, it kind of just makes me wonder, okay, did you forget? Was it not important enough to you that you forgot? Did you just decide not to do it? Or there's more important things to do? So 100 million things will go into my head before I even approach the situation. So I try at least to think about all the different possibilities. And then sometimes while thinking about the possibilities, I get even more mad because, like I said, if it's, oh, there's probably something more important that they had to do, then now I'm offended, I'm upset. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah.
I actually had this happen to me actually yesterday with your mom, reminding me to do some things periodically throughout the day via text. And so there's been a lot on my plate in the last couple of months. And so yesterday was just nonstop, taking care of business, doing some things. And when I finally met up with her at a certain part of the day, she's like, oh, did you handle this? Yeah, I forgot to do that. So, it happens. And, honey, if you're listening, I'm going to ask you to be patient with me because there is a lot on my plate, and to multitask and to be handling every single thing and not let things fall through the cracks. We're human. And so I think if, for you on your side, if you're forgetting that sometimes you're on the other side. And I think that's where the compassion comes in, is sometimes when you're asking somebody to do something and they forget, we gotta be a little bit more, kind, have a little more tenderness and more compassion, realizing that, not everybody has the brain that can, memorize everything and follow through with all of it.
Yeah. And you know what? I think more often than not, I do consider that I'm guilty of the things that I'm being, getting annoyed of. And I'm probably really infamous for just letting it go. And then later on bringing the list of the 10 things that I let go of. So I'm just kind of telling on myself because I know that everybody does that.
And sometimes we don't let go. We say we let it go,
well,
but we put it on the shelf.
If you're going to bring it up later, then you didn't let it go. Yeah. And I'm, like I said, I'm infamous for that. I do that all the time. And, I know you're not listening, but, I do that to my boyfriend all the time. So if you are listening, which, I'm sorry that I do that because I'll say I let it go and then I don't. So, I feel really bad about that. And I do it to my mom, you, my sister. And I hate it when people do that to me. So that's why I'm crying.
And it's okay that if he's not listening, I think it's important for you to say it because you're listening. And so sometimes just apologizing, or like, whether your mom's listening or not, and I'm asking her to be patient, I'm saying it out loud. It's part of my process too. So, and that's, I think, a powerful place to come from, is you owning up to it. And then, like I said, when I'm in coaching sessions with my clients, I tell them the best way you can get the most growth is tell on yourself with me here. Like, trust me enough to tell on yourself. Like, Alex, I did it again. What'd you do? I said I was going to do something. I didn't keep my word. When you say it out loud, you hear yourself say it, and something happens to your awareness and your consciousness. You grow to another level. A lot of us aren't owning up to our stuff in front of people. We're not holding ourselves accountable and saying it out loud. So I applaud you for that. It takes a lot of courage for you to, out yourself and say it out loud, because the cool thing about it is when we walk out of these doors, when the mic's off, your awareness and your consciousness went to a whole nother level, and you're going to be walking away with some goodies from that. So
yeah, we have to take a quick break, but stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, KHTS. Today we are talking about marital pet peeves and how to overcome them. One of the ones that I wanted to bring up, because this one I'm guilty of too, and I think it's really funny because we're both guilty of it. This one is...
And you're not even married. Can you imagine when you do get married?
I know, I'm going to be worse. No, I'm just kidding. This one's both of us, so... It says hypochondriacs turning into a baby at the first sign of a cough or cold.
Oh my God.
And that one's funny because that always happens to us, where everybody else in the whole house has to take care of us.
Sorry. I don't know why I got the giggles on that one.
It's because we always get called out for it. It's like as soon as we get sick, and one of us is laying on the couch like, Mom.
What's funny is that, like, I've been having this running joke for so long that I tell myself, when I die, it's not going to be like something silly, like I got bit by a spider or I went out something small. When I go out, I want to go out big, not something tiny. And then my wife's like, man, you get one little sinus infection and you're, all like a little sniveling baby. So is that a pet peeve people have?
I guess.
Oh, okay. So what?
But I'm laughing because I do that, and I just feel like if you love someone and they are down, they physically are weak.
Yeah.
Then why not take care of them? Why not do all of those
It's funny
things?
because, I admire the people that have really strong drives or strong immune systems. They never get sick, or when they do, they power through it. I don't have that. I can mentally and emotionally, spiritually, I can power through my life. But physically, when stuff hits me, I can power through what I can. When I can't, certain things, I go down like, a little splinter in your foot. Obviously not like that, but something, it just takes me down, and when I go down, I'm out. And I really need a team of people that can rally around me and support me, either pick up the ball. And that's why I love your mom so much, is that she's my rock. She's my teammate and partner. And when I fall, when I'm down, the ball's in my, on my chest, she'll pick it up and she'll keep running with it, whether it's with the family or my business, whatever. And you're blessed if you can create that kind of a support system where you have people that rally around you when you are hurt or when you are sick. They take care of you and they nurture you. And in order to create that kind of environment, that team, you have to be loving and compassionate, caring towards others. Because if you're a tyrant, when you get sick, no one's going to come around and want to help you, not going to support you. And I think that's one of my biggest fear is, not having enough people that love you and care for you, that when you're down and out, that no one's there for you.
Yeah, this list goes on and on forever. And before we have to end the show, I want to talk about the relationship workshop that we have going on this weekend that I'm going to be at, you're going to be at, obviously, and kind of just give everybody a quick taste on what it's going to be like, and how, if you identified with any of these things with your partner, maybe it'd be good for you guys to go too.
Yeah, I think, when it comes down to relationships, I think that at a certain point in our lives, we stop learning emotionally, mentally, spiritually. we stop growing, and we rely on our current belief system. We rely on the way that we see the world, our perspective, and we just try to do the best we can. And in our relationships, we without a conscious awareness and being open-minded and being mindful and being willing to reflect and look and challenge ourselves. If you're stuck at a level 4 from 0 to 10 in relationships, you're going to grind out the 4 the best you can. It's like having an ugly pig and dressing it up. It's still an ugly pig. And so if you really want to get some work done, you got to get in a training room and really work on that. So
thank you so much for joining us today on My Conscious Dad. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. right here on your hometown station, KHTS.